Hello, my name is Isaac Cheriot. I am an editorial intern at the Annals of African Surgery. The purpose of this tutorial is to demonstrate how to download, fill, and upload the conflict of interest form during manuscript submission to the Annals of African Surgery. To begin with, we need to identify the areas from which you can be able to download and access the conflict of interest form. There are at least three areas where you can be able to do this. One, if you go to the Annals of African Surgery website, there'll be two areas from which you can be able to get this conflict of interest form. The first one is within the guide for authors. If you click under the guide for authors, you'll be able to see instructions to the authors. And under the instruction to the authors, if you scroll to the lower part of this section, you'll be able to see a segment written conflict of interest. And within this segment, you'll see a link from where the form can be downloaded. So if you click on this red underlined word, it will automatically download for you the conflict of interest form. The second area where you can be able to access the conflict of interest form is within the frequently asked questions section of the journal's website. So if you proceed to the About Us section, you will see frequently asked questions. If you open this segment of frequently asked questions, you'll be able to see question number 2, which addresses the conflict of interest form and the copyright agreement form. So if you go to the first segment, you'll be able to see again another link from which you can be able to download and access the conflict of interest form. The third area will be within the manuscript submission site. To access that, go to the segment written Submit Your Manuscript. If you click, it will automatically take you to the manuscript submission site for the Annals of African Surgery, which is the Scholar One manuscript submission system. To be able to access this site, first you need to have an account. If you don't have an account, you need to create one by clicking on this link. If you already have an account, you just need to log in. It will automatically take you to this home page where you will see four options. You'll have home, author, and review. If you click on author, it will take you to a segment where you can be able to perform your manuscript submission. So the conflict of interest form is one of the 5 mandatory files that need to be submitted by an author during manuscript submission to the Annals of African Surgery. The other 4 important files you need to have prior to submission include the title page, which is a separate document that contains the following: the title of the manuscript, the authors and their affiliation, as well as the contact details for the corresponding author. The second important document you need to prepare prior to submission is the main text, which essentially contains abstract together with keywords, introduction, methods, results, discussion, conclusion, as well as references. Tables should be placed at the end of the main text after the references. The third file you need to prepare are the images, which should be uploaded as separate files in the following formats, either a JPEG, TIFF, or PNG. The quality should be at least 300 dpi. The fourth form that is mandatory during submission of a manuscript to the Annals of African Surgery is the copyright agreement form. And the fifth form is the one we are addressing today, which is the conflict of interest form. And this should be filled by each author. So we've already seen 2 areas within the Annals of African Surgery website from which you can be able to access the conflict of interest form. And that was within the guide for authors here, within the frequently asked questions, question number 2, and lastly, within the Scholar One manuscript submission system. To access that, you need to click Begin Submission, where you'll see at least 7 steps. Step number 2, on file upload, you click the area for file upload, and again you'll be able to see the conflict of interest form. Once you're able to locate any of the three sites from where you can be able to access the conflict of interest form, you just click on the link to download the form. So we'll start with this one. If you click on the link, it automatically downloads for you the form. If you click on this one, again, it automatically downloads for you the form. If you click on the one on the Scholar One manuscript submission site, it automatically downloads for you the form. However, you'll note that on clicking the link, you'll be presented with this kind of error message. This error message comes about because once you click the link, the form is opened using the PDF reader of the browser, which presents this kind of error message. And this will be found if you use any of the three links that I've mentioned before. To overcome this error message, proceed on to the right side of the screen where you'll be able to see two options: open in Acrobat and an arrow for download options. If you click on open in Acrobat, it automatically opens for you the conflict of interest form within the Adobe Reader. And this way you'll avoid the error message. The other way of avoiding the error message would be to locate the arrow. If you click on the arrow, you'll see this download screen where you'll be able to download the conflict of interest form and save it within your PC. So you can select anywhere you want to save it. For this, I will save it within the downloads. And I can name it Conflict of Interest Disclosure AAS for author named Isaac, from which I will click Save, and it automatically downloads for me the conflict of interest form. It's also important to note that once you do that, avoid clicking this link still within the browser, because if you click on the link, the form will be opened by default using the PDF reader of the browser you are using. In this case, I'm using Chrome, which will still present you with the error message. So to avoid this, remember we had downloaded our form and saved it within the downloads. So I will go to the personal computer file. So I'll click on this link to the file explorer. I'll proceed to where I saved it, which was the downloads, where I'll be able to see the conflict of interest form that I had downloaded. From here, you can be able to right click and open. Again, now you'll be able to open the conflict of interest form without any error. The second part would be filling the conflict of interest form. It's important for each author within a manuscript to fill the conflict of interest form, and all the forms should be uploaded by the submitting author. So to fill this conflict of interest form, open it as we've done. Proceed on to the second page of the conflict of interest form, where you're supposed to populate it with the author details. Assuming I were one of the authors of a manuscript that is being submitted to the Annals of African Surgery, I will fill a conflict of interest form. So I will put on my name, fill the date for today, which will be the 26th of October. Assuming I am not the corresponding author, I will need to provide the name of the corresponding author. I'd also need to provide the manuscript title. So assuming the name of the manuscript title is manuscript 4. The manuscript identifying number, that is if you know it. If you don't know, you can skip this segment. Section 2 to 4, this is where now you're supposed to declare a conflict of interest relating to any relations with a third party, either government, commercial, private foundation. If there are any conflict of interest, you should be able to indicate it here. If there are none, you just click the no. You should be able also to fill the section on financial activities. If there are none, you click no. Intellectual property, patents, and copyrights. If there are none, again, click no. And the last, which is relationship and other activities that are not covered under the above segments. If there are none, again, you click no. After which you proceed to section 6, which is now the segment that will generate the disclosure statement. If you click here, it automatically generates the disclosure statement. Once you do this, you should be able to save this field conflict of interest form. Select where you want to save your conflict of interest form. In my case, I want to save it within the downloads. I will rename it as the field conflict of interest form to distinguish it from the one I haven't filled. So I'll save it as a field conflict of interest form. The third part is now uploading the field conflict of interest form. So to do that, you go back to the manuscript submission site, which is within the Scholar One manuscript submission system. Under step 2, which is written file upload, you will be able to see this section from which you are supposed to upload the 5 files you had already talked about. The conflict of interest form should be uploaded as a supplemental file that is not for review. So you click on file designation, supplemental file, not for review. Then you select the conflict of interest form. So you click on select file. Remember, we had saved the file under the download section. So here it is, the field conflict of interest form. I will click on that and I'll click open. So this brings the conflict of interest form to the Scholar One manuscript submission system, after which I'll click upload. So this process uploads the manuscript conflict of interest form. Once you do that, you'll be able to see it as the uploaded conflict of interest form, after which you can proceed with filling or uploading the other recommended or required files. So in summary, we've seen how you can be able to download the conflict of interest form, which is from any of these 3 sites. How we can be able to avoid the error message, that is by either using this Adobe Acrobat shortcut or by downloading it and locating it within the PC, whereby you can be able to right click and open. And we've also seen how to upload the conflict of interest form and the kind of designation required for conflict of interest form, which is supplemental files that are not for review. Thank you very much for your time. In case you have any further questions regarding any steps during the manuscript submission system, please feel free to contact us. Our contact details are within the Annals of African Surgery website. If you go to the section on contact us, you'll be able to see our email, physical location, as well as the telephone number. Thank you very much for your time.